This is Conversations with Mike Sparks.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, your community? Then you're in the right place. State Representative Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk about local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
All right, you're listening to Conversation Mike Sparks. I'm your host, Mike Sparks. We used to call this the Rutherford Magazine Show, so we changed it up a little bit because we talk a little bit more than just Rutherford County. And got an exciting show tonight, and I've been looking forward to this. And tonight at about 5:30, we've got Senator Marsha Blackburn, the interview I did with her Friday in the studio here. But tonight, right now, I've got a kind of a legend here in Murfreesboro. We're going to talk about another legend in Murfreesboro that sadly passed away, our buddy Casey Clark. So, Pastor James McCarroll, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, sir. Doing well.
First Baptist Church. And, man, I'm going to tell you what, that was the best funeral I've ever been to. So you're used to celebrations of life like that, aren't you?
Some, yeah.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, I've been to some black funerals before, but that, I'm going to tell you, I was telling my wife and I was telling my friend Marty Luffman and so many other people, I knew Bart was even excited. I told some other day, Bart's like I'm Caucasian, Bart's extra Caucasian. You know what I mean? I told him, I said, Bart, before we got started, I said, Bart, you've been to black funerals, and he goes, yeah, I have, Mike. You know, he's just real, serious guy. And, I mean, who was the people y'all have from Mississippi? I heard y'all had come up.
Yeah, so Jerry Marable, Pastor Jerry Marable, actually organized it. We just hosted it. So we tend to host funerals where the capacity needs to be increased.
Yes.
So because our sanctuary is one of the largest.
What's capacity?
We only see about 600, maybe 650,
Really?
700. But most of our churches in the community, white, black, or other, most of their capacity is roughly 300.
Yeah.
And so we offer it as a free service for many of our key leaders. And
Good
then
for you.
when they have other major people who pass, we'll open it up.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, it was just such a good send-off, You didn't get to hear what I talked about, though, because you'd had another event and you popped in at the end.
That's correct.
Man, you just rocked the place. You lit it was already lit up, and you come in there and lit it up even more. You remember what you said?
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
We're paying tribute to Casey Clark.
Yeah.
If folks don't know who Casey Clark is, I mean, young Connor, you didn't really know Casey, did you?
No.
You didn't? Jeremy, you knew a little bit about Casey, didn't you?
The name's familiar.
Musician.
I knew, musician, big around this area and especially Nashville. But I didn't, didn't know him personally, but I knew of him as a musician and so.
Well, let me kind of set this up. When I really wish you could have heard what I said yesterday, because I had a state proclamation, and Thea Marion, his sister, got me the information. So I wanted everything to be right, and put what bands he was in. And he was a last graduating class at Rosenwald in Smyrna. See, a lot of people don't even know what Rosenwald schools were, and it just shocks me. Pastor, African Americans don't even know what Rosenwald schools are.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a native.
Oh, it
American.
was the CEO of Sears Roebuck back in, I guess, the late 20s and the 30s, financed black schools in the South.
Oh, wow.
And I built like 500 something schools. I mean, he was Julius Rosenwald, Jewish man that funded these schools. Casey went to last graduating class.
Wow.
If the school would have been off Inland Springs in Smyrna near Mason Tucker, and there's a park there. In fact, I just got off the phone with Judy Garner, Ed Garner. He used to be a councilman. Him and Tom Sage, Tom Sage, Parks Department. He used to be with Smyrna, and they replicated like the old school. Smyrna mayor, I guess at the time, was, I think, Paul Jones or Bob Spivey, and Smyrna Parks is one of the best in the state. And they put that thing together. You can rent the building. It's got a kitchen and everything. It's got basketball goals outside and picnic tables. And Casey, he came in and played 2 reunions for me. I did 2 little reunions and had a lot of the folks that went to those schools. Sadly, a lot of them have passed on, but But here's how I met Casey. You believe in power of prayer, don't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. You've seen miracles, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, when I first got invited to come up on WGNS, it was by Gloria Shacklet, Bill Shacklet's wife, and I used to hear Casey, because I used to listen to WGNS, and he'd wear out everybody. There'd be the sheriff, the mayor, if you were the dog catcher, he's going to wear you out. County commissioners, whoever. And I was just a little worried, to be honest with you. I just, I didn't want any problems with Casey, and I just said a prayer. I said, Lord Jesus, I want you to take care of Casey for me. I didn't wish no harm on him. I just said, Lord, just take care of Casey, and let's get along. First day, I was sitting right where you're sitting. First time I was on the air, he called in. I think we connected on addiction, the jail being at capacity, maybe PCC, if you remember that. $14 million lawsuit, by the way, listeners. Some of your tax dollars paid for that, where those people were oppressing folks, violating their civil rights, and leaders were silent in this community. Just saying, just Google PCC, Mike Sparks, Ernest Burgess, you'll see the story. Many times the media is silent. That was one that they were silent on for many years. But we just kind of connected on issues, and I guess around some of that. And PCC was so bad, they even took our police chief's $1,000. Sally Walls, she was our first female chief. She told me how corrupt this group was. And they like I said, they settled a lawsuit, and I think he got charged with racketeering. And I forgot the guy's name that she told me who what it was. She went to pay her grandson's probation fees. They were just making money off people. It was people stuck in the system, and she said, Mike, I gave him $1,000, but he never gave me a receipt. It was cash.
Wow.
She said, so she seen the balance sheet. He still owed a bunch more money. That guy put it in his pocket.
Wow.
Put it in his pocket.
Wow.
I forgot the guy's name. Wish I knew it. I think he moved to North Carolina, somebody told me. But that existed, man. So me and Casey just connected, and never had a hard time with him. He called back to the station that day and wanted me to call him. But he come in and played music for me at Rosenwald. And I'm going to tell you something I learned from Rosenwald. And I shared this at the funeral yesterday. And it was an honor for the family to ask me to speak. And I asked this elderly African-American lady, I said, man, what school bus you ride? You know what she told me?
What's that?
She said, honey, I didn't ride no school bus. I walked 8 miles to school.
Wow.
8 miles to school.
Can you imagine, with the current rate of absenteeism, what would happen if our kids had to walk?
100%. 100%.
Oh yeah.
I walked. Did you walk to school?
No.
You didn't?
No, we have like a 30-year difference between us.
Oh, thanks a lot. Isn't that much? Yeah, ours was wooden. But, but I had to walk like a mile. And I used to think I felt bad for myself walking to Smyrna West, Oper Hilltop, David Jury. But see, David Jury, that was their farm. That was their land.
Oh, wow.
That was Casey and Appleton. That was their land.
Wow.
But, I mean, you couldn't farm that because nothing but rock and cedar trees, But have you heard those old stories like that? People having to walk like that?
Yeah, we had a number of people. The Overdens, I think about Houston and Jane Overden, who were teachers. I think she taught at Holloway.
Okay.
She would talk about when she was a child that she would walk, I think, 5 or 10 miles to go to school.
Wow. Man. Well, I bet you the schools she probably walked to were probably not all the schools. Like the one over there, the school, there's still remnants of it. The building is still there. You knew Bo Washington?
Yeah.
Okay. Where Bo lived across from Edith Moore's place. We're trying to kind of save that place across the gravel pit. Edith's out of Memphis. She was, born and raised up in here. And she was born at that, what the old building looks like. Looks like a shack. I mean, it's about to fall in. She wants to save it. And, it's real hard. I mean, I don't know what, I really need help if anybody cares about this issue. She really needs some help. I talked to her last week, and she's not doing good health-wise. She's getting on up there, but that's history. Yeah. Her grandfather built that, and folks want to know more about it. You go to YouTube, type in Mel Malone Foundation. She talks about it. Now the folks you're talking about, they were school teachers.
Yeah.
At Todd Holloway.
Yeah.
Now, how many years has your church been in existence there?
170.
Really?
Yes.
170 years.
There's some history there. Wow.
So pre-Civil War?
Yes.
Wow. There's one of our historians right there. Jeremy just graduated with second degree, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, literally about 4 Saturdays ago.
Congratulations.
Yep.
He's now. You still work in the Parks Department, right?
No, my season ended Labor Day.
So what are you doing now?
I'm searching.
Unemployed?
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
searching. So yeah.
Okay.
No, I talked to you about, and I was applied for Smyrna Police Department. That preliminary application went through last week, something like that.
Oh,
And then,
okay.
so yeah. So
Applied
I'm-
at Smyrna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to do aren't you going to do the Citizens Police Academy?
I haven't thought about it yet.
It's cool. You should
has
do
it?
it.
You've
Yep.
done
You
it?
should do it. I've done it. Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
I tried to get my assistant to do it. Marvin. You ever meet Marvin? Young African-American
What's his
gentleman.
last name?
Marvin Williamson. He's now with the Office of the Courts. He's going to law school.
The name doesn't ring.
I tried to get him to go through. I'm not saying he wasn't interested. He had some other priorities, I guess. But I'll tell you, it's a hard-working young man. I called him yesterday. I want him to come to Casey's funeral. He's been studying for law school. So that church, is at the same location?
No. So the original location was not far from here, right where Greenhouse Ministries is.
Really?
Just the block over.
Okay.
And so they moved from there with the city renewal.
All right.
So they moved from there to the current location on East Castle
Current
Street
location.
in 1950. But the original location is actually where the Roses building was. So
okay.
there was a community there called Bethel.
Bethel?
And so once they got the first building they got was given to them by First Baptist on Main Street.
Okay.
It was their old building. That building burned to the ground in the 20s.
Really?
And then we relocated from there to the location here. And then we went to the one.
How did it get? Was it built by another Baptist church?
What do you mean?
I mean, as far as funding and how it was constructed, did you ever hear any of the history?
Which church? So the first one
First
was.
Baptist.
So the first one was actually First Baptist's, their former church building.
Okay.
So they moved to another location and gave us that building. And then,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there was a boiler issue, and they moved from there to another location, which was, I'm assuming, pre-existing. Then they moved to the current location, which was an existing
cool.
church.
Well, there's a calendar that Mary Watkins put out, and it has a lot of the old churches on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the church Casey went to, Holly Grove.
Holly Grove. Mhm.
Holly Grove, and but the guys yesterday at the funeral, and man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not just saying it's probably the nicest funeral I've ever been to,
Yeah.
because it's like a concert, revival, celebration of life, church service, all rolled into one.
Yes.
And then you come in there and you rock the place. Everybody did such a great job. I mean, and so I like how, like some of the pastors would just get up there and then just like hit on a high note, and just walk off.
Yeah.
Is there a term for that or anything?
Walking off.
I mean, it's just like I mean, you're like a concert, like an orchestra, and you're leading it. And it's like a high note, and you just walk off, and then maybe the keyboard guy starts getting down, and the guitarist or the drummer.
Yeah. So it's called celebration. So in the African American culture, our preaching model is one of call and response. So we're used to a room getting loud. Now, not every church is that way because we're not homogenous. We all have different styles. You have Presbyterians and whatever.
Yeah.
But in that context, what you saw was the celebration of it. So the music gets behind it,
Yeah.
and it kind of sets an atmosphere. And so whether it's me or someone else, they walk off because their time is up. So it's almost like you give encouragement when it gets high and your time is up. You know?
Okay. I mean, it's just it's really. I had a few people that I know, young guys, and I was in Nashville and I said, hey, look, I've been asked to speak at Casey's funeral. I said, do you want to come along with me? And Blake Hassler, he's used to be with the Attorney General's office, and I don't think Blake's going to be sharing it. And I said, you ever been to a black funeral? He says, well, no. I said, you need to go to this. You need to come to this funeral, man. I mean, you would be, but I think Casey would have been like just excited because talk about the carriage yesterday.
Yeah. So, and this is not anything unique to African American culture.
Yeah.
I know Woodfin does, and a number of other funeral homes do it. So they did the horse drawn carriage.
Yes.
To take them to the cemetery, which is kind of cool. It's more,
Oh, yeah.
more kind of pomp and circumstance.
It was-
because it's slower. Like we have cars now.
Well, how long did it take? I was going to stay, but I was
I
having to
missed
pick up
it.
my wife.
I honestly
Really?
missed it, so I stayed behind.
I wanted to, because I asked Bart, I said, Bart, how far is that? You know, because, man, the carriage, he thought it was a little over a mile to
Yeah.
to
yeah,
to
Evergreen.
Evergreen.
yeah,
you know.
about that.
But y'all are used to that.
Yeah, we should do it for you.
No. I ain't
you
ready to
won't-
go.
And you won't see
I
it,
ain't
but
ready to
you know,
go.
I think.
I ain't ready to go. I've never been a horse person, anyways. But it was really, man. I mean, I think even Bart was excited. You know what I mean? And it was just so surreal. I videoed it. I've never grabbed my phone and. I just was awkward video in a funeral, but I thought, man, people need to see this because I love that song. They said it was Casey's favorite song.
Yeah, so it's called Mississippi Po' Boy. I'd never heard of the song. We invited a pastor to come preach, and he sang it. Now, granted, context is different. So
Yeah.
this is a song that was written by the Canton Spirituals. I don't know if you've ever been to Canton, Mississippi.
No.
So Canton, Mississippi is where they have the Nissan factory
Oh, okay.
outside of Jackson,
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Okay.
So it's a small town, man. So it's blink
Yeah.
and you leave.
Yeah.
But
Mississippi Poor Boy.
Yeah, Mississippi Po' Boy. And so I had never heard it, and it was actually, to some degree, it didn't, what you saw in that response yesterday, our church didn't respond that way.
Yeah.
Because we weren't like, people throwing dirt poor or anything. So we
Yeah.
we were like, okay, why are you
But
singing
they
that?
said that was Casey's favorite song,
Yeah.
correct?
So people love the song because of the group. So the group, the Canton Spirituals.
The Canton Spirituals.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. And I think Connor, can you pull that up?
The interview?
Yeah, the Canton Spirituals.
Canton Spirituals, Mississippi Po' Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Well, we're going to go to commercial break, and we're going to segue into that. We're going to come right back to you, Pastor Carol. We'll be right back.
Josh Moss with Affordable Heating and Cooling provides residential HVAC and duct cleaning services to the Middle Tennessee area. With more than 20 years of experience, Josh Moss and the AHC team provide 24/7 service and take care to ensure whatever work you need done is done in a professional, timely manner. Contact AHC at 615-745-1676. That's 615-745-1676. Or go to their website at affordableheatingandcoolingtn.com.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we're committed to providing local car owners with top-notch auto repair services. With over 2 decades of experience, our ASC certified master technicians are experts in both foreign and domestic vehicles, ensuring accurate diagnosis and timely, cost-effective repairs. From oil changes to major engine and transmission repairs, we've got the cure for your car. Dr. Automotive, keeping your car running smoothly, mile after mile. Visit our website, smyrnaautorepair.com.
Hi there, my name is Rusty Russ. I, along with my sons, Luke and Reed Russ, sell real estate for Stevens Group in the Middle Tennessee area. We are a team of professionals who have the knowledge of local and regional market, which allows us to offer you a full range of commercial, industrial, residential, and investment real estate services, matching our resources with your needs. You can call us at 615-366-8900 or at my cell 615-406-5553 or email jrustyrust@comcast.net.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
We're going to rock this place, man.
Can I take it? Can I take it? 'Cause I know you. I know you. I know you've been good to me, Lord. I come from a poor family. We didn't have much, but the Lord been good to me. Come from a poor family. We didn't have much, but the Lord been good to me. Come from a poor family. We didn't have much, but the Lord been good to me. Let me tell y'all something. I didn't have no money. How many of y'all were like that? A lot of my friends thought that was funny. But I'm so glad today that I can stand right here and say that the Lord been good to me. Let me tell you one more thing. Listen. We were raised in a shack, y'all. Sometimes clothes were thin that we put on our back. Listen here, Mama and Daddy, they done the best we could. They always told me, son, always be good. But out of all the things, I know that the Lord been good to me. Oh, it's been good. Ain't God been good? How many of you know tonight that God been good? Let me ask you, did he bring you? Did he bring you? Did he bring you? A mighty long way. Oh, Lord, I've been sick. Anybody been sick? Did God bring you? Let me tell you what he did for me. He blessed me. He blessed me, Dad. He blessed me. Yes, he did. There been times in my life, oh, help me, Lord. Seems like every time that I got a nickel, I had to spend a dime. But let me ask y'all something. How many know God got power? How many know he got power? Let me tell you what he done for me. Let me tell you what he done for me. He healed my body. Won't God heal? When I was a little boy, I had polio in my right leg. But look at it. Lordy. 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 Ain't God good tonight? Ain't God good tonight? Ain't God good tonight? Ain't God good tonight? Let me ask you something tonight. Anybody know about the rock in a real life? Anybody know about bread? Anybody know about the bread and a starlight? I wonder, can I get one with me? Wonder, can I get one with me? Wonder, can I get one with me? I don't mean to be nosy. I don't mean to be nosy. Has he been good to you? Has he been good to you? If you know he's been good, let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say yeah. I got one more question. I got one more question. I got one more question. Can I ask you one question? I don't mean to be nosy. I don't mean to be nosy. Anybody got the Holy Ghost? Anybody got the Holy Ghost? Got the Holy Ghost? Anybody got the Holy Ghost? Yeah!
We're back. I know people got to be thinking, what is going on WGNS radio tonight? Jeremy, can you play the drums like that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Man, have you ever heard that song?
No, but I can. That's when you said, "Can I play it?" Yeah, I can absolutely play that.
You think our choir could do that?
Our choir is good, but it's.
I don't think they'd keep up. Pastor, what do you think about that
song?
Yeah,
it's a good song.
Is that the best?
No,
man. I mean, that place was lit up yesterday. Who's the young guy on the keyboards?
I can't think of his name.
So they're from another church that came in?
Yes.
Okay.
So their entire band was a community band. So none of those guys played for us.
Can you get me their names?
I can get them, Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Marable, what's his first name?
Jerry.
Jerry Marable. Okay, Jerry Marable. But the carriage, I mean, that is just cool. So who's got the carriage? I mean, how'd they line all that up?
So funeral homes, they're companies they use, they subcontract for the purpose of using carriage. So if you think it's cool, I can tell you, we can get you in one, man. You can do it while you're living so you know what it feels like.
Yeah, I'll let my wife know. Okay. I'm trying to get you to guess who this person was. I've got an ad in the Pulse right now. I do an annual survey, and you still ain't guessed who that
James Brown?
No, that pretty young lady is right there that I'm talking to, that I met with. I'm giving you hints, man.
So Dad shook his leg?
She said her husband his leg would often shake when he'd sing, and he ate peanut butter and banana sandwiches, and I think he gave his mom, and he'd give people Cadillacs. She's in a couple of movies. Her husband's passed on now.
I don't know, man.
Well, man, what's another hint? You find a hint. Don't say the name now. It's another hint. Give a hint. Well, don't say who it is. You got to give me another hint. A hint for him.
Yeah.
Who it is, but don't say who it is though.
I don't know if it's too hit on the like too on the
what
nose.
What would the guy often say?
He had a special back in 1968.
All the girls loved him.
Marvin Gaye?
No, it's a white guy.
Oh, white guy. Well, Elvis.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Priscilla Presley, man.
Oh wow.
What do you think about that?
That's cool, man.
Is that not cool?
Yeah.
Cool. If anybody gets a copy of the Pulse, I've got an ad in there. Thank you, Bracken Mayo, for hooking me up with that. I still had to pay for it, but it was still a good buy. But it's a survey. I want folks to fill it out, and they can mail it. Even if you're not in my district, they can just mail it in. There's an address right there. Just fill it out or leave it up here at the station. I'm sure Melissa can get it to me. Now, I got to talk to, I made passed a bill making Amazing Grace official state hymn. Oh, Lord hooked me up on that.
Wow.
You know the history of Amazing Grace, right?
No.
It was written by a slave ship captain.
Oh, yeah, Amazing Grace?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that slave ship captain, the Lord touched his heart, turned his life around. God used him to end slavery in Great Britain. 1834, 30-something years before America did, without firing a shot. See, and I think it's the power of music that helped free the slaves in Great Britain. I know this sounds like I'm stretching it, but I really have this theory because, you know, we lost like 650,000 men and young boys to free slaves in Great Britain. I mean, here in America. And they did it with the power of a song, with the power of former slave ship captain, and the power of a guy influenced a lawmaker. William Wilberforce, they said he fought tirelessly to end slavery, and they finally passed it on his deathbed. And when I introduced this, you know, people thought it was controversial. So everybody's scared to take a stand today.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
And here's how the Lord lined it up. He got a black senator to carry it. Akbar out of Memphis carried it. But I was telling Priscilla Presley about this. She said that was Elvis's favorite hymn. Wow. Amazing Grace. But what was cool, I was playing it while my mom was dying. My mom was 91. And she was ready to move on. Mom's a strong Christian. And I played it, and I was watching because she was under a lot of moans and pain. And I could hear it all the way at the end of the house. And I started playing Amazing Grace with bagpipes, and my mom's breathing calmed. Her moans went away, and the next day she died.
Wow.
I never shed a tear.
You play bagpipes?
Never shed a tear. No. My mom, I mean, I don't play bagpipes. I played it on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
I played it on the iPad, but my mom was from Scotland.
Yeah. To hear it on bagpipes is just another experience altogether. I mean,
it touched her, even in her dying hours. And, you know, that song said, Lord, been good to me.
Yeah.
I never shed a tear. The Lord prepared her way. And here's what's cool. 4 days later, my first grandbaby came into the world, and my son named the baby Grace. Named the baby Grace. What's the probability of that?
Wow.
And my son, you know, and I'm not trying to put down my oldest boy, Preston. He's not in church. Wish he was. But he's not. He raised up in church. But little baby, she's just so precious. But there's power in music. You know, I'm in this history of recording industry with Caress is his last name, at MTSU. And a lot of the blues.
Is his first name Alex?
I got his book out there in the car. Not sure.
Okay,
It's
well,
Caress.
I'll have to look into that.
Man, but Pastor, you go back and look at the history of rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was the blues that affected all this.
Yeah. Yes.
So I didn't know all this, but you knew all this.
Yes.
Yeah.
The movement of music in this country always came through, is birthed out of pain.
Yeah.
And so it was if you will, it was a bridge or a shelter or a way of recycling pain.
Yeah.
To find the words to bring hope.
Yes.
And so it was always made into, for lack of a better term, made into the voice we needed to speak to the situation we were in.
Yeah.
And so whether it's the spirituals, which are the four parents to blues, whether it's blues, whether it's jazz, whether it's rock, whether it's funk, all of them are birthed, and the impetus of them in most cases was a space of pain, seeking to find a voice and create a voice that could bring hope.
Yeah.
And so you see that pretty
So, I know it sounds kind of strange, music therapy is an issue I've tried to bring awareness to. And what put me on that, my sister passed about 4 months ago. And sadly, she was in a coma 6 weeks. And I remember I said a prayer. I said, Lord, if you're not going to heal my sister, you need to take her. Within 4 minutes, we got a phone call. My sister opened her eyes at the hospital and said a few words. Now, she didn't have a complete, she came to and came back, but she was confined to a wheelchair, had a brain injury, and but I heard her in the nursing home. She was trying to escape the nursing home. In a way, it was kind of I don't want to say it's funny, but you had to find the humor because or else you'd cry. And I hear her singing a song. She was like, "Country Road, take me home. Country Road, take me home, place I belong." John Denver, and then I tapped her on the shoulder. She didn't know who it was, but she knew the words of the song. And I'm thinking, how do you know this?
Well, it's music has a very unique ability to reach the limbic system.
Yes.
So it goes beyond the cerebral cortex right into the limbic system, and it can be housed there. So even people who can't remember what they ate for breakfast can summon those songs.
Have you seen this in church with your elderly folks?
There was a woman who had severe Alzheimer's, but could sing "Amazing Grace."
Really? Yeah.
So that's
cool.
Yeah, it's hidden in the space that can do that.
Yeah. The what brought you into ministry?
Jesus.
Amen.
Like I was planning on going into ministry, and I was at a Bible study in Houston. I said, "Well, Lord, if you ever want me to call to preach, if you want to call me to preach, you got to let me know in a way that I cannot mistake it." And in the middle of the study, the guy said, "Stop the study." Young man in the white sweatshirt. God just told me to tell you.
Amen.
To call to preach.
Bam. You had a sign. Well, have you ever watched that interview of Denzel Washington, where he said he was in a barber shop? And he said a woman said, "Somebody hand me a piece of paper." It's on YouTube. Folks won't see it. Hand me a piece of paper. And she's had a prophecy over his life. And she said, "You're going to talk to millions of people around the world." And he said, "I've talked to millions of people around the world." Her prophecy came true. It's a cool interview. He's at a commencement address, but your church was packed yesterday.
Yeah.
It was packed. And, for Casey, because the cool thing about Casey, and there's a nice tribute that Bart's got pulled up, and he plays some of Casey's clips, and he talks about folks working together. Well, I asked Bart yesterday, sitting in your pew, I said, "Bart, is it okay to use the word butthurt on the radio?" And he looked at me, he gave me this look. "Yeah, Mike, it's okay." And I see a lot of butthurt in this world today, man.
Yeah, man.
It's terrible. People can't work together, man. A lot of it's people in my own party fighting with one another, bunch of hate, bunch of egos, bunch of excessive pride. Yeah. How do we fix that?
Most times we become arrogant at the moment and the space where we gain amnesia.
Yeah.
We forget how many people we should help because we forget how many people we have helped us become who we are. We forget how to forgive because we forget how forgiving we are.
So you think forgiveness is a powerful tool?
I have a book on it. I believe it.
You got a book on it?
Yes.
For real?
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the book?
The Faith to Forgive.
Really? That's a whole nother show right there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Have you ever had to forgive somebody in your life?
That's where it came from.
Oh, did it really? Yeah. Well, it was how was? Let me ask you this. Not trying to get too personal. Your dad, you had a good relationship with your father.
It was okay.
Was he okay?
Better now, but okay.
Yeah. Me and my dad was really hard. He was World War II, really hard. Pulled a gun on me. Tried to go see him. He was a man of his word, so I had to back off. But he had a lot of bitters. He was married 5 times. But he could cuss you and make poetry out of it. He could get creative with cussing. I mean, some of the things he would say, it's just kind of comical. I remember the one time I bucked up to him because he wanted me to get some wrench or something. I was like 13, and he said, what do they teach you in school? And I said, and I'm not going to use the word on the radio, but I said, not to be a DAMN Mr. Goodwrench, that's for sure. That's the first time I ever back talked. He never said a word. I guess he just kind of thought about it. It's like, okay, whatever. But he was a principled man, but he didn't know the Lord. Well, Mom knew the Lord. Wow. My mom was like, so you're used to all this. My mom was a holy roller in the front of the Catholic Church. She was the only one raising hands, the only one like, you're used to this.
Yeah.
Catholic Church ain't used to that.
You're
the
right
Baptist Church many times isn't used to this. But my mother was like full-blown Pentecostal, but in the Catholic Church, But she'd always tithed. She was always had a woman of faith. And the good thing about it, I never knew what she had in the bank or nothing because I never asked.
Yeah.
She was tight as a tick, wouldn't spend money on nothing. But that's why I can relate to that song. I was on that free reduced lunch rate. But if you were on the free rate, you was really poor. But if you were on the free reduced, you're like poor, but not that poor.
Gotcha.
But she was raising 5 of us, Well, I think we've got how long is the Marcia interview? 11 and a half minutes. Oh, we still got because we got Marcia interview. She was in studio with me Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, we got to talk about a few things. She's doing good, lovely lady, and I it was kind of cool. I said I had a list of questions. I said asked her or a girl with her. I said well, she got a little late because she pulled up at the back. For some reason, if you ever try to come to studio, listeners, they've got you going to the back door. That Waze app, so that needs to be fixed. Bart and them, I don't know how we change it. Try to get hold of Waze. But I said, you got anything? She's no, whatever you want to talk about. Let's get into it. And I could have, easily kept her 30 minutes. So you're calling. How old were you?
21.
21.
Yeah.
Now, did you go through a wild streak when you were 12, 9, 16, 17?
Not so much.
Really?
I was too scared.
Really? Of your dad?
No. My parents were divorced.
Okay.
My mom.
Did you get to see? Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your mom was a tough one.
Yeah.
Really? Is she still around?
Yeah, she's still around.
Where's she at?
In Nashville.
Nashville. Does she know you on the radio right now?
No,
I don't want you to call her up right now.
But I
call her. Call her right now and say, hey, Mom, I'm on the radio with Mike Sparks. One time I prank called my mom years ago and it didn't go good. I just said, Mom, I didn't tell her. She didn't know it was me. I said, Mike taking good care of you, and she goes, like that kind of pause. I thought, this isn't going good. It was on Mother's Day. She didn't like me cutting up, especially back in her senior years. Now, which churches has the largest congregation in Murfreesboro?
Which churches? Across the board.
Your church probably, as far as African American churches.
Yeah, as far as African American, we're the largest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been to. What's the one out? Kitcher and I did a nice award, I think, honoring the history. Maybe in Hickory.
Cherry Grove?
May have been out towards Walter Hill, back in there.
Bethel.
I think, all right, Bethel. Now, where's Marion attend? The Appleton, where's she attend? She was at Word of Life. That's a church that got locked out. You knew about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Man, that was sad.
Yeah.
It was, there's not enough time for me to tell you how I got connected with that. But Sammy Sanderford, you know Sammy?
Mm-hmm.
He's a janitor at David Jury, and he happened to start talking to him. I said, where'd you go to school? He said, I went to Holloway. And he was growing up during segregation and played football. And so how'd you get back forward to Laverne? He said, man, I hitched a ride. He said, people give you rides back then. Yeah. Then I said, where you go to church? He said, man, we're locked out right now. I said, locked out? The government locked them out. Yeah. Now, people get mad at me saying it live on the radio. Laverne government locked them out. Yeah. And that's a First Amendment issue, But, yeah, Thieves is a sweetheart. What keeps you motivated when you see all the chaos sometimes in our country?
Have you ever seen a 3-year-old smile?
See my 20-month granddaughter smile.
there's something that reminds you of what it really is all about.
Yeah.
They don't know money. They don't know politics. They don't know all of the dynamics of socioeconomic challenges. They just know simple things like gratitude.
Yeah.
They know peace. And what motivates me is I want to think about what type of world we're preparing them to walk into.
Yes. Amen.
That's what John DeBerry says too.
Yeah, that's us. Reminded John said, I guess his life changed. Because you're too young to have grandkids.
That's correct.
How old are your kids?
I don't have any kids.
You don't have kids?
That I know of.
Well, but you know, hey, I had my brother-in-law. He did that little, what's it called?
His DNA.
DNA, seriously.
23andMe or something like that.
Yeah, for really. I told my wife, don't get it done. She may have some kids that she don't know about. But no, the boy, they're close, man. He found him after 30 years and looks just like him. They get along good and shout out to my brother-in-law Bruce. He just sadly went through some mouth cancer surgery about a month ago, but good man down in Saudi Daisy. But no, John DeBerry speaks about having grandkids and how it does change you. Well, we got about another minute before we segue over to the interview with Senator Blackburn. I'd like to have you up here by just another. Who else could I bring along with you? Who else gonna add all this spice and flavor to the conversation?
Who else you want, man?
I mean, just whoever. Jerry Whedon, I thought was coming up. I don't guess.
Now I'll tell you, the guy you need to have up here.
Who's that?
Is Brady from New Vision.
Oh, okay.
One of my dearest friends in the city.
Can I have both y'all up?
Yeah, he's great.
Can you set it up?
I can set it up. You let me know
Okay.
when. He's good, as well as Drew Shelley at First United Methodist.
Okay.
You think
I get three y'all in here.
You think United Methodist, but man, these guys are hilarious.
Really?
But
I've been over to the prison ministry.
Yeah.
Spoke to him. I had the Secretary of State over there met with some of them, and it was funny. I had Jerry Whedon witness this. I had Secretary Trey Hargett and we set up a big tour, toured Brother Whedon's church, Ebenezer, and what happened with Edith, one of the reasons I'm trying to get her help her get her property, they put the survey through the middle of her house, man.
Wow.
And what I was saying when I got in the pulpit, I said, Pastor, you ever thought about using profanity in the pulpit? And he goes, no, Representative, I hadn't. Trey goes, please don't. And I said, but when I see that wouldn't happen in my neighborhood, but it happened to Edith. How's it happen?
Well,
been in a family since like 1910.
So I'll tell you, then there in no uncertain terms, there are different rules here.
Yeah.
We've had, as a church, there was a piece of property we looked to buy on Osborne Lane.
Yeah.
About 30 acres. I think it was at 1.15.
Oh.
And we were going to pay cash for it. We didn't mind.
Really? Wow.
And they raised the price.
Oh.
And we said, okay, we'll still pay. They raised it again. And they stopped at about 1.75. Then they said it's not available anymore.
Really?
That's the nature of the city you live in right now.
Wow. Well, I live in Smyrna.
Well,
we ain't going to let that stuff happen in Smyrna, Tennessee.
So those are the type of things that in 2024
Yeah.
we deal with. There was a piece of property the housing authority owned behind us.
Yeah.
We said, we own the property in front of us. So we said it'd be easier for you guys to build on that than build on this. We just connect the properties, wouldn't sell it.
Really?
They said they couldn't sell it. I found out later you can sell it.
Well, we don't have enough time to talk about it. I mentioned it in your pulpit yesterday when I spoke, the side pulpit there. And I knew something had happened to Edith. Edith's probably not going to talk about it. And it was their old land, their old farm, which I walked at school, David Jury up there. I was the first graduating class. That's how I knew about Sam Sandiford. And I know I got just a minute. I want to tell you this, how God's got a plan. We hear God's got, a lot of people don't believe this. I was the only kid in my fourth grade class, and I know Blister may get because I've talked about it. I didn't get to go to Sam Davis home field trip. Right? I didn't have $5. I could have got $5, but I didn't want to bother my mom. I knew my mother struggled. I didn't want to bother her. And the teacher let me sit there all day long. And back then, everybody knew you were in class because it's like a 12-foot wide opening. You didn't have a door, and the kids are lined up. They're, what are you doing there? I'm like, well, I don't have $5. Teachers didn't have $5. Had to sit there all day long. Here's how God had a plan. Because something that's highly improbable is nothing. That's positive is nothing but a miracle if you think about it. So Emily Mitchell, a little teacher, wanted me to. I was arguing with school board members or something. She said, "I bet your name's carved desk up here at David Jury School. I knew you went to school up here." So I thought it was cute. So I went up there. She took my same classroom. The same classroom. She knew nothing about this story. That's how I knew the pastor. I said, where you go to church? And we're locked out. Okay. So then I said, I'm sitting and she took me to the same classroom now that I was in the 4th grade. I thought about, I was reminiscing, about that pain and hurt. I guess I need to write some blues. And you know where I was at the next day, brother? Hey, I was a guest speaker at the state capitol of Sam Davis' home, brother.
Wow.
What's the odds of that? What's the probability?
Wow.
I've even challenged my stats professor to come up on the radio, and he said, Mike, I can't factor that probability.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. And Keith Claxton, and Keith's like, Mike, I just can't factor that kind of stuff. But that's God.
Yeah.
See, all the mathematicians can quantify what they want, but God, if God wants to do it, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Just like y'all's funeral, what a great send-off to my brother Casey Clark. And, but I'm anytime y'all ever need me, man, just call me. And if we see any kind of crap like that, just get it to me. Because, there's probably some discrimination. Edith, she shares stuff with me, and so did a lot of these folks don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like me talking. I'm not trying to rehash problems. People need to know where they came from. My mother was poor. They had 11 of us, loved them in Scotland in a little bitty 2-bedroom place. They didn't have much, and that's why my mom and dad were so tight. My dad flew on them bombing raids over Germany at B-17, shot down, crash landed a couple times, super tight. Didn't want to spend money on nothing. But the Lord was good to me.
Yeah, man.
He healed a relationship before he died.
Yes, sir.
Any final words you want to get out there?
Thank you for your voice.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing what you share in the city.
Yeah.
And we'll be praying for you.
Thank you, man.
Murfreesboro know you are in our prayers. Rutherford County, you are in our prayers.
We need it. We're going to do another event. We had that men's conference at your church years ago.
Yeah, we've got plenty coming up. So we'll keep you posted.
Thank you, brother.
My pleasure.
Let's take a quick break, Connor.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Have you seen traditional chiropractors or various medical providers but have not found relief?
Dr. Austin Schumann with Horizon Spinal Care.
Experience the difference at Horizon Spinal Care, the only NUCA chiropractor in Middle Tennessee. No twisting, popping, or cracking. A gentle touch and controlled contact on the first vertebra of the neck is designed to restore balance to the entire spine. Call Horizon Spinal Care today at 615-203-5111. Visit us online at horizonspinalcare.com.
When I say VFW, you probably have some visions of a smoke-filled bar with a bunch of old-timers eyeballing you. Well, the Stones River VFW is doing things different. No smoke-filled rooms, no turning prospective members away, and a strong emphasis on camaraderie and community. We believe in instilling our American values in our young people through numerous programs such as Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, Scout of the Year, and VFW Teacher of the Year. Stones River Post intends on becoming a driving force to help, aid, and assist wartime veterans. So if you're one of those veterans with a campaign medal and you want that sense of purpose that you've been missing, then give our recruiter, Andrew Farr, a call at 615-490-5715.
Mics are hot. I'll cut it when you start.
All right.
Thank you.
Just to remind you, we've got that hard stop at about 11:20.
Yeah. 11:25ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between 11:20.
Yeah. Any certain thing you want me to get into, but we'll roll. With this conversation with Mike Sparks, I have a guest, Senator Marsha Blackburn. It's an honor, Senator Blackburn, for you to stop by WGNS studio. Welcome.
I'm delighted to be here, and it's always good to see you.
Well, you're always so accessible, and I appreciate it. We had you at Steak and Shake on Sergeant Asbury Hahn Way in Smyrna. That was my friend I trained at Nissan.
Right.
Sadly, he got killed in Iraq. And it always meant a lot for me, for you to come in and your staff to come in. And I remember I told you the story, and I hope it's okay to share.
Yeah.
I seen, you looked a little emotional, just to be honest. And with the loss of Freddie, he gave his life for the freedoms that we have here today. But you got an exceptional staff that came in. That can be found, by the way, on Facebook. Just Google Marsha Blackburn on Facebook and Sergeant Asbury Hahn. And you can see it. But welcome to the show. I know you've been busy in D.C.
We have, yes.
Got a lot of issues, and I know there's issues that you've been concerned with, primarily the border.
Mm-hmm. Everybody is concerned with the border. And I think this week a lot of people were really perplexed that the the current vice president, really didn't have answers for what she thought should be done, what she could be doing. But after November and after the election, she felt like come next January, she might be able to do something. What we do know is this. When I talk to Tennesseans, every town's a border town, every state's a border state.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have to go back to building the wall. And the Border Patrol has told us they need that physical barrier. They need more technology and more agents and officers. So let's get that wall built. And pardon me, let's get the wall built. Let's give them the officers and agents they need. Let's make certain that they have what they need to do the job. Yes. And let's begin to apprehend this fentanyl that is coming in this country and poisoning so many kids. It's a terrible, terrible issue. And, of course, kids are, and we continue to say, one pill will kill you. Ma'am. It is so deadly. And then you look at the gangs that are in communities now, the amount of crime that comes with those gangs, the human trafficking, the sex trafficking. And I think that this is why this issue is so prevalent in people's minds, and why it's the number one issue is because they're living it and they're seeing the effects, the bad effects of this open border every day.
Yes, ma'am. I know you've been very concerned about America's energy independence. Can you elaborate on that some?
Sure. When you look at what this administration has done to the price at the pump, gas is up 45.8%.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is because in his first 100 days, Joe Biden did 94 energy-related executive orders. And these were things that made it harder to get leases to do drilling for oil and gas exploration. And when you take that kind of executive action, starting with killing the Keystone Pipeline, then of course you're going to see the price of a gallon of gas. We should all be wanting to use every energy resource we have and get the price at the pump down, get the price of heating and cooling the house down. Energy cost, home heating and cooling are up about 38%.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, it has an effect.
Well, speaking of inflation, this economy, I mean, there's so many stats of everything that's increased. I mean, I know for me personally, just like Wesson oil, it seems like it's tripled. Everything else has doubled, if not tripled. Bidenomics obviously isn't working. And I know under Trump's leadership, prior to this administration, America, to me, was at one of its top peaks economically. And it just seems like, I know our county, speaking of illegal immigration, our schools are overcrowded, our infrastructure it's very concerning. I know our county commissioners are concerned, Mayor Joe Carr is concerned, others are concerned. I don't know how we turn it around without tightening up this border.
Well, we have to tighten up the border, and we've got to tighten up the belt when it comes to spending. When you look at inflation, with the new numbers that came out this week, inflation, when Joe Biden took office, if you count it out from that day, inflation is at 20.3% from where it was on January 20th of 2021. And Tennessee families are spending, to buy the same basket of goods they would have bought in 2020 or January 21, you know what, Mike? They are now spending $1,023 more per month.
Yes, ma'am.
To buy that same basket of goods and services. I mean, talk about the impact of inflation. Families have to either go without or they have to make other choices. But when you have that kind of cost increase and it is hitting everything, whether it's rent or mortgage or insurance or the price at the grocery store, clothing, all of that is having an impact.
It's very concerning. I know you've got another event here in a little bit, but I always appreciate your accessibility and your You're just straight up, and what frustrates me with politics, I've been around politics 22 years now, and I worry about this new grandbaby I've got. I passed a bill making Amazing Grace official state hymn. Got to meet with Priscilla Presley recently and talked to her about Graceland, and I look at my little grandbaby. I was just pushed her on a swing just now, and she's waving at me. She's 20 months, and I worry about housing with her, education, crime, this drug problem. I had to do a funeral earlier this year for Regina Judd. Sadly, her husband passed a few years ago. Then her son passed of fentanyl. And I don't like doing funerals, but sometimes I get those requests. But China, national security. There's so many things we could talk about. One area I want to ask you about, because I have talked to you about this a few years ago, is the censorship of Facebook and other areas. That's something you've been a fighter on, and you've been a fighter on what the impact of social media is having on young people, especially young ladies.
Yes, indeed. And we've been very concerned about how social media platforms use their content moderators, as they're called, to actually go in and censor. So this is something that we've had a good bit of attention on and want to continue to bring attention to. If these social media platforms are going to be the public square, they need to let all voices be heard, because it is robust, respectful, bipartisan debate
there is,
that is going to keep this nation free.
Amen.
And we need that. When it comes to kids in the virtual space, I have a bill that just made it out of the Senate, the Kids Online Safety Act. And this came out on a 91-3 vote. And 72 co-sponsors in the Senate. But it's a product design bill. Every product you buy has safety standards.
Yes, ma'am.
But online, you don't have any safety standards.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
this would require these social media platforms to have safety by design, to make certain that there is a duty of care, that they open up these algorithms and they do a toolbox for kids and parents so they can decouple from these algorithms. And then, of course, having...
All right, we're back. That was an interview with Senator Marsha Blackman. Appreciate her time. Jump into Roger Thomas, site interpreter with Sam Davis Home. Roger, talk about our big fish fry we got coming up with Smyrna Rotary Club.
Oh, yes, the 27th annual Wings of Freedom Fish Fry and Classic Car Cruise-In. It's this Saturday, September 21st at from 5 to 9 p.m. And it's going to be at the Seward Air Force Base or the Smyrna Airport. And also, if I got time for this one, the ghost tours are coming up at Sam Davis Home from the 11th and the 12th of October, and the 18th and 19th from 6 to 10 o'clock. And that about covers my info for you, Mike.
Well, I've got, if you get a copy of the Pulse newspaper, I've got an ad in there. Please complete the survey. You may get one in the mail. I'd like to get your feedback. Your opinion does matter. Jeremy, any final words? We've got 10 seconds.
No, sir.
Everything good?
Yeah, no, just everybody keep Tony Campbell, Mike's
Tony
Mike's
Campbell
good friend, in your thoughts
He's-
and prayers. So yeah,
St. Thomas West, we got a lot of, he's doing a lot better. His mind is a little bit better, and blood clot's starting to go down. But keep
Okay.
Tony Campbell in prayers. Folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Connor.